내가 그만이 필요하고 내가 그만을 주가 내가 그만 하나는 내 사주 내가 그만을 주구만 내가 그만 쓰구만 내가 그만을
Our story begins long ago, very long ago, in a world only ruled by gods and mortals as their slaves, known as only the plains. If I'm not mistaken, they are known as the Omniplanes. The Omniplanes were ruled over by a race of gods known as the Keepers, and one fateful day, Maverick, as head research scientist, was developing very neat things that would help the Empire grow. And one day they decided that, unfortunately for him, they found a new mineral for him to research. Or them, I should say. Given that he was an uncanny, very interesting creature consisting of a bunny and a dragon. And this bunny-dragon hybrid was very, well, entertained by the idea. His love for his work was unmatched. Although he did miss the days when he could go and see his own family. Although his work was much more important for science. Anywho, one day they brought in this crystal and this plant, I should say. A hybrid between a plant and a crystal. A mineral that's a plant unlike anything they've ever seen before. They asked him to study it, not knowing what it could do themselves. So, he studied it. The Keepers left him to his work for many days, until he finally figured out what these things were. They called them concept crystals, and that seemed to be their actual name, given anything that was written on them, well, became reality. It was almost like magic, but it rewrote the foundations of creation itself. But in the process, the concept crystals could not topple anything more powerful than they were. The thing is, these things were infinite. There were some limitations. But other than that, it was nearly unlimited. Until one fateful day, while he was working, a glitch formed on his computer, and he did not know what to do about said glitch. And he had a weird idea that he tried writing the word glitching on one of his crystals, touched it to the computer, and thought if that might fix his glitch, but instead it had horrible consequences. It immediately backfired on him, well, them, I should say, without a second thought. And given the current status of Maverick, he transformed. Rewriting his own code, he could see things that no other people could see. He could see the foundation blocks of creation itself. Energy patterns, code, beyond anyone's wildest dreams. He had infinite amounts of power now, but he had to keep it secret for many, many years. And with time, he managed to master it with over 1 century of work. And then after that century, one day a mistake while he was talking to some keepers happened. He glitched himself a little. And some of his power may have blown up some towers that were important. And then began Maverick's revolution. The revolution that would not stop, would not cease. This revolution continued But the Keepers were not happy. Maverick had hid this raw power from them, that they could even get stronger than he was right now. But Maverick was smart and made an entire pocket dimension for the concept crystals because he knew that they would be coming after them soon with a fleet of army. And as soon as they showed up, Maverick said this: "You want that concept crystal, but you're not getting it. You're not getting that concept crystal while I'm still alive." And with that, Maverick glitched every single one of them out with one glitching blast of energy and absorbed the Keepers who were there energy and crippled their physical forms into dust. As the dust settled, Maverick grew stronger with each Keeper he defeated and began the war against his own masters, his own gods. He began the war that would end all wars. And trust me, the Keepers were putting up quite a fight. Not only did they come in with some mundane tanks and other stuff, but Maverick had helped every single one of those technology advancements. And since he had helped and been a part of that, he knew all of the weaknesses of every single technological thing on the field. And with that, many centuries of war later, Maverick was victorious. He became his own master and took over the plains of, what was it again? That name always eludes me. Yes, the infinite, the Omniplanes. Sorry, that name always eludes me. The Omniplanes. As he ruled for centuries there, he did not care what happened next. During the final days of the war, the Curse Keeper laid a curse on him, trapping him in his own reality, making it so he could never leave his universe. He was stuck in that place, in his own universe, and began the creation of new life to keep the balance in check. He eventually formed his new empire, the Codebreakers. The Codebreakers would break the foundations of reality to warp reality however they saw fit. But they were mostly locked into the Omniplanes until given a good reason to leave. Maverick destroyed his original copies to make way for new empires. Anyone who would oppose him would meet the same gruesome fate as the people who stood against him in the early days. He could only do one thing during his time period out of every other thing he could have done. He grew in power, but he knew that some of the Keepers fled to the new reality he recreated, known as the Timeless. Over the eons, the Keepers fled into the Arc of Two. Well, there was many worlds before the Arc of Two, before the Timeless, like Era Zero. Then after Era Zero, the Arc of Two. After Arc of Two, the Timeless. And generations of timelines later, and the foundation still continues.